14 months. I counted it. It's been 14 months. And I know what you're thinking. Bro must think he's Frank. Bro must think he's Rihanna or some shit. And I mean, I do just a little bit. Welcome back. Episode 11. This is officially the second season. I know I said that last time, but fuck what I said almost 2 years ago type shit. Season 2 starts now. New location. We're in my bedroom. You see my little vinyls on the wall and shit. And it's a little more chill. It's more just me and my thoughts and all that good stuff. And I just talk to y'all about like whatever the fuck I feel like, which I guess is normal. Yeah, I guess that's pretty normal, actually. That's kind of how I was doing it before. The difference is it's just me. I realized I did not have any confidence to actually do this by myself. That's not why I took the long break, but it's a part of why it took me a while to actually come back to do this. Because I've had this idea for doing this where it's just me and I talk directly to the camera and I just give my thoughts and I kind of wanted to feel like there's some type of community, some type of conversation going on, but I was deadly nervous of how lame I would sound. I thought I didn't have it. I realized having guests on was a bit of a crutch just to get me to, feel like I'm doing something and that everyone is more interesting than I am and I'm just a good springboard type of person. But this year, I'm trying to step more into my own person and kind of discover who I am, which I guess kind of gets into the whole, where have you been question. So I guess I'll start explaining that one. But before we get into that, hello, my name is Supreme Mally, and you are tuned in to Golden Radio episode 11. It's so good to be back. And I mean, it's also so good because I went through a lot, guys. I was going through a lot, family issues, health issues, the usual, the blah, blah, blah. But, I genuinely had a bit of a questioning of like who I am, what am I good for? And is any of this even worth it? I know, crazy. I know, like, oh, look at this guy. He's so existential. But for real though, around sometime last year, I lost my camera, which is why we're shooting this on my camcorder. And I don't know. I reached a point where I just realized, like, what am I doing? And if I am good enough to do any of the things I want, like these bigger dreams I have and aspirations for myself. As losing that camera just felt like, wow, I'm such a fuck up, man. I'm such a fuck up. And that was after months of not shooting another podcast episode out of this deep fear and weariness I was getting. I don't know what that was all about, but I've been for the last 14 months deadly scared to put out video content because I genuinely think I suck at that shit. I genuinely think I'm terrible at that shit. And maybe I am. And the thing about that is it's like, I don't know how I got there because I told myself when I started this that the whole point is that it's going to suck. You're going to be terrible at it at first, but you get better through the repetition and through constantly trying. And I don't know why I became scared to try. I feel like at a point I became scared to even live, being honest with you. There was days I just couldn't get out of bed. I didn't have that motivation. I wanted to stay in my room, this very room, watch TV and like fucking do nothing. Oh wait, I'm leaving. I'm burying the lead, guys. I'm leaving out a big detail. I lost my job around the time I did the last episode. I lost my job, and so there was no money coming in, so I couldn't go to a studio anymore. And I didn't have the faith to do it on my own. I thought I needed other people, a studio, money, and better resources. And honestly, I thought maybe I was just using that as a way to kind of to just kind of like give myself the excuse to not try anymore. I don't really I don't really know how I got there. Um, I mean, I guess the job thing. It was a deep sense of rejection. And last year, if there was one word I learned was rejection, because I did not get another job for over a year, you know? So that's great. Love that my college degree, my bachelor's degree, doesn't mean shit. That's fantastic. Um, and it was rough, man. That rejection, and then rejection from all the jobs and places I'm applying to, rejection in a love life sense, rejection just from just feeling like everything was going against me. Felt like everything was going against me. And I know you're not supposed to think of it that way. You're definitely not supposed to view it as you against the world. It's you against you, actually. But it's hard not to think that way when it feels like everything is rooting against you. And I was just getting in a really bad spiral and just kind of going down and down and down. And I mean, I was trying stuff in other platforms, like on IG, which you should follow at goldenkids.nyc on IG, or follow me, Supreme Mally, straight just like that. Posting little kind of sort of IG articles on there. It was kind of fun. It was cool. It was my little nerdy shit. I need to get back to doing that. I need to get back into my writing bag, actually. Doing stuff like that. A big breakthrough was doing the poetry jam last year. That was probably the top 5 greatest moments of my life. Not even gonna hold y'all. Doing that event for the first time and putting together something that was so special to me and to everyone there, and something that was a source of community, was really good. But we have to get there before. I have to explain how we got there, though, because throughout that year, it just really felt like there was just nothing that was gonna go my way, and I felt like I was just going to fucking just be a loser and stay in my room. And what didn't help for sure is I didn't realize how bad my habit of doom scrolling and how much I needed that dopamine rush of going onto Twitter and scrolling, or going onto Instagram and scrolling. That's fucking terrible. Or going on to TikTok and scrolling, and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And fuck, man, that shit makes me want to die. Real shit. God, that shit sucks. But God, I can't stop doing it. It actually makes me feel really bad about myself, which in turn makes me feel worse when I go back and do that. And let's talk about feeling bad about ourselves real quick. So yeah, I really noticed how bad the cycle for me and my self-esteem can get, particularly when all I do is do things that irritate myself. And what do you mean by that, Malachi? What I mean is I do these things that I know I know would make me feel bad, and then I do them. And then I feel bad about the fact that I did them, which in turn makes me feel even worse about myself, because I feel like I'm a piece of shit for doing that. And you don't know how many times I've said, man, I hate myself, man, this, man, that. It's genuinely bad. And so with this period of time while I was gone, I was scared to shoot anything. I was scared to put it out. But because I was scared of that, I also in turn hated myself, because why was I not doing that? I know this is what I should do. I know this is what would help me to, reach my dreams, to maybe get money, or to at least maybe be seen by someplace I would want to maybe hire me to do something. And I never did it, and it made me in turn look at myself like, what are you? You're not a good artist. You're not a good internet person. You're not a good creator. I guess it's saying the same thing as an artist. And you're not a good entrepreneur or work for yourself guy, which, whatever the fuck. And so it was just a cycle of just hating myself and hating what I make and hating the fact that I didn't do it and all that. Like, I shot a really cool project last summer and it never came out. It never came out. One, because my laptop just could not handle the footage. It was some high quality shit, man. And two, because I couldn't get myself to do it. Like, I couldn't get myself to do it. I worked with someone on it. I feel so bad. I don't even think I've even updated them, which is so unprofessional, which in turn makes me dislike myself more. And I'm never going to get anything out if I keep feeling that way, you know? So, I did what anybody would do in my position. I got high. No, I'm messing with you guys. I did therapy. I went to therapy. I still am in therapy. And the first thing we kind of, started to talk about was giving myself grace. Allowing myself to, live and fuck up and be like, that's fine. That's okay. And the funny thing about it is, I'm realizing how much in the need for growth, or the journey to growth and the journey to make connections, how much embarrassment is a part of that. Like, we say failure, but I want to say embarrassment, because we can work ourselves to believe failure is fine, but only in the idea of, like, if we fail kind of to ourselves, like fail silently, no one notices. But I'm like, embarrassment is needed. Like, we need to crash and burn type shit. I'm not saying we all have to like fuck up so terribly bad, but the expectation that it can happen and probably should happen if you're doing something new would probably help us feel a lot better about that happening, or at least about the possibility of that happening. Because it's not even the thing. Like, that thing that stopped me, it wasn't even that it could happen. It was the possibility of it. It was the fact that I was sitting around going like, is it gonna be good enough? Are people gonna like this shit? Does anyone give a fuck about what I have to say, what I have to make? That was killing me, because of course I'm gonna go, no, it's not gonna be good enough. I don't have the equipment for it. I don't have the experience for it. I don't know what people care about. And I'm always gonna naturally think no one gives a fuck about me or what I have to say or what I have to do. And going to therapy was the first time I was like, maybe I shouldn't think that way. Like, maybe I shouldn't shit on myself every fucking day. Maybe that's probably causing some of my dysfunction. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to choose one thing to do. One thing and one thing only. Focus on that and do it right, because that's going to help my self-esteem. It's going to feel good to feel the accomplishment. And it will give me something to get out of bed for, something to get ready in the day for. So I picked the Poetry Jam. Everybody Speaks. And it was a success. It was more than a success. It was better than I ever could have imagined it going. It was beautiful. I cried on stage. All my friends were there. Met new people there. It was so good. It was so good. Shout out to AMP. AMPM, not AMP, the streaming group. And shout out to everyone who showed up. If you're watching this and you're there, I'd love you so much. Leave a heart in the comments. Thank you. But yeah, like, so I did Poetry Jam, and that was fun. And then I was like, okay, now what? Now what? And then I sat around and did nothing for December. I had some ideas that kind of fell through, but I basically didn't do shit. And then I spent all last January just trying to get up the nerve to make this. I actually I recorded this episode before. I didn't like it because I didn't have a script, and I don't have a script now. So, right? But I feel like I'm a little better this time, a little more energetic. I think I have my thoughts more together. I don't know if I'm going to write scripts for this or just freestyle these, like, just stream of consciousness, like just talk about whatever I want to talk about with y'all. But I mean, y'all let me know if y'all are enjoying this or not. Okay. So go in them comments. You know what I'm saying? That helps me out too. You know what I'm saying? We trying to get out of this house. It's not my house. It's my parents' house. So please help a struggling artist out. Help a struggling black artist out. You know. But I lost my train of thought. So if you're paying attention, you've noticed that like at the root of my issue was kind of this belief of like, I'm not a good artist. I'm not a good this. I'm not a good that. And through therapy, I learned how much like identity and what we're told we're supposed to be or what we think we're supposed to be really plays a role in like our unhappiness, or at least my unhappiness. Let me not talk universal right now. Even though I do think that is a big problem just in the world. But for me, you know, there's this version of myself that I conjured up maybe back when I was like an 8th grader, a 9th grader, 10th, you know, some point around my early adolescence or early adolescence, my early teens, my teenage years. Let's just age up to 16, right? A version of myself that I thought I was going to be at 25. And I think a big issue was I don't think I live up to that idealized idea. Okay. This vision of myself that I made when I was younger that wasn't based in anything in reality. It was based on TV shows and books and Instagram posts and just this dream of me being this super fashionable, super head of the crowd, super suave, super cool guy. And I don't live up to that. And I remember saying to my therapist, like, the root of a lot of my issues is that I don't live up to this ideal, that version of myself, you know? And I'm explaining it. And then I talk about who I currently am. And I was like, I like me, but like, it's not that. And that was like a watershed moment, because I think I just told y'all, I think if you paid attention to what I've been saying, I've been talking about how much I dislike myself, how much I don't think I'm good at this, how much I hate myself, how much I put myself in this cycle of self-hatred and low self-esteem. Yet and still, here I am saying, I like who I am. So it's like I was torturing myself. You know, I legitimately was torturing myself because the version of who I am, or at least there is some good in, or at least I believe there's some good in who I am, while still telling myself, you're not enough, you know? You're not enough to make this. You're not enough to do this. You don't do enough. Like, I'm telling myself I'm not enough to make it, and I'm not enough because I didn't make it. You know, like, how am I going to win with that mindset, you know? And I don't know if anyone else has ever felt that way, but I'm hoping someone does. You know, everything I do is just to hope that people connect with something I'm saying, you know? And so what do you do then? You let go of all those ideas of who you're supposed to be, you know? Because at the end of the day, who is really deciding who we are? Like, who is deciding these labels that we try to fit ourselves into? Because throughout society, we're supposed to exist in some label or some branding of who we are. I am a fashion guy. I am a writer. I am a designer. I am a hipster. I am... you get the point. I'm not going to go with more examples. I think those examples suck anyway. You know, and it's like when we sand ourselves down to that, we just become these like half-baked versions of ourselves that kind of also limit ourselves to be who we want to be. Which then not who we want to be, but who we really are. Like, that's the difference. Not who we want to be. You can aim to be something and work towards that, but you got to question it. Where is that identity coming from? Who is giving you that idea? Because a lot of society just wants us to be some set, easy thing. But we aren't easy people. We're all complicated, really fucked up, mismatch. We are complicated people with a lot of different ideas and a lot of different personality traits. And I think that's beautiful. That's like the point of this whole living thing, right? Like, we're supposed to just be out here, exist in our truest selves. And you can't do that if you're constantly trying to be something that someone else made you to be, you know? Okay, guys. So the camera died. Very professional of me. And I also had to go to work. So I wrapped it up and said we're gonna unpack this when I get back, or in a couple days, which it is. It's a couple days later from from the last time I was recording. So let's get back to where we left off. So because of this dichotomy of who we really are and who we believe we are supposed to be, there's this cognitive dissonance going on in our head. It leads us to feeling very unhappy because we fail to live up to a standard that we just could never really match up to. You know, that's what I was going through, trying to be this suave center of the room, center of the attention, life of the party, but also a manly man who is never in his feelings and always knows what to say and always is quick on his toes and never fucks up and never embarrasses himself. Which, you know, the funny thing about that is that like none of that shit really matters. Like it's perfectly fine to never meet that, because we as people are just too complicated and too multi-layered to ever really just be like one thing. And that's like the problem. Like when you think about it, we're all supposed to be like this one thing, but it's like there is no set thing we're supposed to be, but society tells us again and again that we are supposed to be one thing. You know, like it's like as if we're a product that's meant to be sold. So we got to be the best, most simplified idea that can be easily summarized in like the little details section of a shop page, you know, which is kind of crazy because it paints us as like products and shit. But like quite literally, that's kind of what happens in capitalism. And I'm not going to get into that. But what I am saying is that's what I was falling for the trap of. And I realized that's where a lot of my unhappiness came from. And I feel like it was really coming to a head during that time. And then the funniest thing about it is, I realized like that version of myself that I thought I should be was not even the version of myself I wanted to be. I realized so much of who I am now is what I would have loved to be, or things I love. This wall of vinyls is something I love. You know, Golden Kids is something I love. Putting on the poetry jam is something I love. I love the person I am. But it took me so long to realize that because I was so clouded with the idea of, well, but I'm not this, and I'm not who they say I'm supposed to be, and I'm not with my own crib, and I'm not, you know, driving a really nice car or any car because I don't have one, and I'm not like, you know, I'm not. There's so many things I'm not, you know, and to quote a guy who I will not name, everything I'm not made me everything I am. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that realization that like, well, it's not like because I'm not those things, suddenly everything I am is like suddenly now invalid, you know? Like that'd be really silly. And also it would be really dumb to hold myself to trying to be just this one figure that I got from television and stuff like that, because like we are all really interesting people who are inspired by our environments, our heritage, our culture, our intrinsic qualities that shape us, you know, and we constantly change. That's the other thing. Like this version of who I am right now is something that will change, which is why I'm pointing out that this version that I conjured up of what I should be when I'm 25, when I was like 15, is not quite what I am at 25, because who I am now is completely different than who I was at 15. When I was 15, I was stupid as shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm still kind of dumb, but I have a degree, so I can at least say I'm not that dumb. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all that to say, these labels and these ideas of ourselves can really form a way to trap us and make us look at ourselves with a sense of self-hatred and dissatisfaction, which is something I was going through the last year. I was deeply dissatisfied with my life, with myself, with my work. But at the same time, I didn't do anything with that. All I did was just sit around and mope and feel bad about myself, and then feel bad about the fact that I was feeling bad about myself, and feel bad about the fact that that made me not do anything. So it was just a continuing cycle of self-hatred and low self-esteem and self-loathing. I'm just saying the same thing 3 times. But with all that, I was in such a deep hole to get out of, right? And you're like, well, what do you do when it feels like everything is crumbling around you and you just don't have it? I just made it. I focused on one thing, man. Like, I mean, yeah, I focused on the poetry jam and I did that. But I mean, like, I focused on just waking up, flossing, being good with my skincare routine, and brushing my teeth, and not going online till an hour or two after, you know, just really small goals to make me feel better. And then I said, let's tackle the poetry jam. And now, you know, I'm saying, let's tackle the next project, which isn't this. There's another project I have on the way. I won't say, because I'm trying to protect it and stuff like that. I don't believe in all that, but I also really want this to come through. So I'm not going to talk about it until it's time, guys. But trust me, it's going to be nice. And trust me on this. We're back. Golden Radio is going to be so nice. It's going to be so lit. It's going to be so good. Sorry. It's going to be so good, guys. You're going to love it. I hope you love it. I don't know. If you liked this, it's only going to get better from here, because it's my first time doing this. And I don't know if I'm good without a script. I'm kind of all over the place, but editor me will fix it up. But this is the new Golden Kids. This is the first episode of The Big Return. I just thought maybe I should explain to you guys what I was doing. I want this to be something that you don't even have to pay attention, man. You can have this on while you're writing. Please have this on while you're writing. It would make my whole day to hear someone was using my content to help them focus while writing. Or, maybe you give a fuck about what I'm saying and you felt it. If you did, leave a comment, say that was real as fuck, Mal. Thank you for that. Or you're just watching because you're someone that knows me and you wanted to support. Thank you so much. If you want to support, leave a like. Thank you very much. Maybe a subscribe. Thank you very much. Right. I think that's it. I think we did it. So, first episode back. Golden Radio. Supreme Mally. Signing off.